Hare Krishna. ज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. Hare Krishna. So we'll continue our discussion on the topic cause of all causes. This is very important understanding we need to have. And from the beginning of creation till now, whatever is happening, it is only one person, that is Krishna. Either he or his energies that are acting. What living entity has? No? It has only a desire. And we want to come out of, we want to get this understanding properly. Then the method is not to get affected by the dualities of this world. That is the point. If we get affected by the dualities of this world, then we will not be able to understand these things properly. Like, say, we know this very famous story. A person, he has a nice horse, and then, but he was not very rich. And then people come to him, they say, you have such a good horse, you sell it, we'll give you money, and you'll be very happy. He said, this is a very important story. He says, I am happy, I am distressed. This is nothing to do with the horse. Why you are connecting my horse with my happiness? I am not happy also, I am not unhappy also because this horse. When people thought he's a fool, he's not understanding. He said, what is the connection between the horse and my happiness? I am happy, I am distressed. It's nothing to do with this. And people came, they offered him big price. He said, no, I don't want to do it. It is with me, let it exist with me. Why I should sell it? I am happy, whatever way I am like this. And then one day that horse is lost. It went to the forest. And people all say, see this fellow, he got such a misfortune. He said, no, I am not, that is nothing to do with connection to my happiness or distress. I am okay with whatever is there. And then after a few days, it comes with one more horse, she horse, I think. And then say, oh, he's really intelligent. He's fortunate now. He got few horses. Then he says, Arey, why are you talking? My happiness and distress is nothing to do with this. That is there, I am there. He's not connecting his happiness with the things he is having. He's not connecting his happiness and distress with what is happening around. That means what? That means he's an observer of activities. He's not getting into the activity. This is what 5th chapter Bhagavad Gita Krishna is trying to explain. And then his son is sitting on the horse and suddenly he fell and he broke his leg. For life he is lame. Then he said, oh, see, we thought you are very fortunate. So much misfortune came for you. Again he said, this is nothing to do with my happiness and distress. That is happening and I am there. And then the country goes for the war and all the children are taken. He is there. And people come, yeah, I think he is actually true. That this is have nothing to do with our happiness and distress. Our happiness and distress is our happiness is being aloof from what is happening around. If we are able to observe, this is the 5th chapter, which many people don't understand. That my happiness is independent of all these things, because that things are happening by Krishna. And by observing what is happening, the cause of all causes, then we can observe Krishna. First we'll observe the things, and then the person who is doing behind this, then we'll be able to observe that person also, that is Krishna. So when we are able to observe things that are as it is, then we get Brahman realization. And slowly the Paramatma realization that they are all acting because of some force behind. And then we'll be able to see the person, the cause of all causes, the Paramatma, the Supreme Lord, Bhagavan also. So it is, Brahman realization is not only for impersonation. When devotees get that realization, For them, Brahman realization is they're able to see the whole material nature is conscious and it is functioning because of some energy. So this type of realization we should also get. We should be able to an observer of things, not getting affected by it. That's how we progress. Chitta, Buddhi, Man, Ahankar will be on next Saturday morning, 9 o'clock. I Because it's a big topic, I don't want to touch it. It goes for few sessions only. Say, if you can just send me your number, we'll join in another link. We have Saturday, Sunday, we have structural review, and we have this time we are taking on karma. So for to talk on karma, we need to definitely discuss on this topic of Chitta, Buddhi, Man, Ahankar. That will be the starting topic. I will take it more elaborately in that session. You can just send me a message. I'll add in the group if you're not there. I didn't want to elaborate on it. No, because it's a big topic. If I will be tempted to spend time on. Anyway, the point here, what I want to tell is how to know the cause of all causes is being an observer. If you start observing that, oh, it is nothing to do with me. Like one of my friend, there are many incidents that happens. Some incidents are such a painful incident, and he was driving and he met with an accident. And what happened is his parents were there in the car, and both the parents died. For him, it is such a tragedy, and it is so painful, for anybody. But the point is what? The point is that it is not him who did it. That is the point. It is time and Prakriti. But he will go through the pain for some time until he gets that realization. Yes, it's arrangement of Lord. But it is always this guilt will be there for him. That is a point. If we are able to see this one, then it will be easy for, of course, for all of us to. This is a very important lesson we need to learn, that any incident we did or happened, of course, we say, oh, then for everything, we'll say, I did a mistake and I'm not responsible. It's not like that. We are responsible, but ultimately, how we are responsible? We are responsible for desires. But there are accidents. Accidents, we are not responsible because that is Lord's arrangement. We have to go through certain situation. Then now I wantedly open the laptop and I am watching TV. Then TV, news, and cinema. Then I say, Proji, this is all Prakriti only doing. I am observing. That is not correct. By accidentally, you ended up in some your friend's house, and then he's watching cricket and you are forced to sit there and watch. That is okay. But we doing ourselves, that is not justified. But accidents, we have to accept it. What we have to accept with accidents, it is what Krishna wanted it like that. This is what is his arrangement to make me get rid of certain conditions. This is a very important and helpful thing. An observer. So when we observe, then only we'll understand the cause of all causes. Otherwise, it is not possible. This is the training we have to get from Bhagavad Gita. Yes, Srinivas Prasad.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji.
Dandavat.
We just guide that in such situations when we understand that this is the cause of all causes is Krishna, and this is the arrangement done by the Prakriti and Krishna. So how do we behave in such situations?
Yeah, we have to know that we need little guidance also, and then we have to also know that it is Krishna. There is some purification he wanted to do. I have certain false ego. He want me to get purified from Unless sorry.
No,
Uh,
no.
the point is, we all have to get rid of certain conditionings which we are affected by. The Lord arranges some situations. So that's with little guidance we understand. Yes, this is arrangement of Lord, and there is some false ego that is strongly holding. Lord want to hit it very hard so that we will come out of that conditioning. And only when we sincerely work to understand the cause, then only we can come out of it. That means cause of all causes. When we know, then we can come out of that pain, because that pain will continue as long as that false ego is holding us. So that situation is helping us to go deeper to get a solution for that problem. Say now I have some problem. Now I am not able to solve only. It's now this problem cannot be solved, but it can be solved not at that level of consciousness. Unless I grow in my consciousness, I cannot solve it. So that's how I have to work hard in becoming more deeper in understanding the cause of all causes.
Wonderful, Guruji. Guruji, but matlab, we try to do that thoughtfully, that because the situations are coming by the arrangement of Krishna and everything, we try to understand and make ourselves understand and do our best in those situations. But it does not stay for a long. Then when we're more pressurized, then we sometimes break down and we miss that. We try to do that, but it's very difficult to maintain always that consciousness that we just remain an observer and just do things as what Krishna is planning for us. So how to just always be thoughtful, that can you just
It is difficult, definitely, because conditions are so strong. We have to show our sincerity to Krishna. We have to, there is to, the sincerity is the only thing we have, and sincere in our desire is the only thing we have, nothing else. We have to very always keep our desire very sincere. That is the only key we have. Remaining all things we don't have any control much. And honesty and sincerity, these three. And third, I forgot the third factor. But these are the two things that we have to hold on very properly. The desire is very clear, then we can come out of it. And Krishna will help, because what we are doing is right thing only. There is no other alternative thing we have. We are chanting, hearing, reading. That is the only thing we have. And that only we have to do with a proper sincerity. Like seriousness, sincerity, and no ulterior motive. And Maharaj says these three things.
yes,
That is the only thing we have. And now, because we are doing right with process and all, and another thing is we should never give up hope. And even we are struggling and we fall 100 times, we should go and tell to Krishna, still I don't have any option other than you. I have come to you only, and somehow you have to save me. I know I did mistake. I am falling every time, but I am not leaving you. So that's how I am showing my sincerity. So now it is your responsibility to save me. You
thank
have to offer prayers.
thank you, bro. Thank
Right.
that's
Kalpana free will has to be judicially used for spiritual purpose. I don't know what does means. I'm not very good in that English. Uh, I didn't understand Mataji. You can you can ask Ratbulli then. Okay, so this is one of the way to know cause of all causes. That by being an observer, and you will see in your. I'm really sorry. Our any activity in the house also, it is all Krishna only who is working in all these ways, and he is helping all of us in every situation. So Yes. So we'll go to the next. So these are very important. Of course, these are all technical things. The technical part I am not touching because that things are very. Maybe I will just give a brief, small understanding for you to know. See here, last three verses. I'll just read the translation. This is a very important understanding we need to have. What Brahma is telling, material activities are caused by Mahatattva's being agitated. At first, there is a transformation of mode of goodness, passion, and later, due to mode of ignorance, matter, material knowledge, and different activities of material knowledge can came into play. And then he says, the self-centered materialistic ego, thus being transformed into three features, becomes known as the mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance in three divisions, namely the power that evolve matter, knowledge of creation, material creation, the intelligence that guides such mental activity. Narada, you are quite competent to understand this. And now he says about the Panchamahabhutas. From the darkness of false ego, the first of five elements, namely sky, is generated. Its subtlest form is the quality of sound, exactly as the seer in relation with the seen. Now, these five elements, now earth, water, fire, air, and ether. Now, what we are seeing, it's not actually their very gross manifestation. But even what is appearing at the beginning of creation or the coverings of the universe, which we hear about, is like if you go to atom, there are subatomic particles. And that subatomic particles, now, they are also having a bond. Like you go that are so subtle and so small also that we cannot perceive with our naked eyes and not even with normal telescope. They need electronic telescopes, uh, sorry, electronic microscopes to understand them. That and then they see there are subatomic particle. So that level, what matter is, no, that is what is earth element, and the elements that combine together, these earth elements, the combination is because of water. And and then there is energy that is stored in this, that is fire, and the space in which they the movement which they have is because of air, that is air element, and the space in which we move, that is actually sky, akash. So this is now this, they're so subtle. Even if they cover, like what you say, this brahmanda is covered with earth element, no matter even if they cover so many times, it is still subtle only. It is not like you can go through them. With this gross body you can enter because they're so subtle. It's not like now earth is there means there is a big wall that is covering all of us, and then still at that too, how many times double the size of the universe is the covering. Then we say, how can we see something beyond? We are able to see because it's not a gross covering, it is all subtle covering. That's why we are able to see galaxies and other things which are other universes also. There is possibility like that. So the point what I want to tell is, this is not gross things that are explained. Earth, water, fire, ether are not what earth, water, fire, ether we are saying. Within the atomic level, these elements are there and they manifest. So every atomic particle, all these five things are there in a more subtle level. So no need to get confused. We should know that this earth, what is spoken here is not the so water. What is spoken is not the H2O we are drinking, but the bonding energy between the subatomic particles, which cannot be divided like that. The five elements, namely sky, air, fire, water, are all but different qualities of darkness of false ego. This means that false ego is the sum total of Mahat Tattva, is generated from the marginal potency of Lord, and due to the false ego of lording it over the material creation, ingredients are generated for false enjoyment of living being. Practically speaking, the living being is dominating factor over the material elements as the enjoyer, though the background is the supreme Lord. To actually save and accept the Lord, no one can be called the enjoyer, but the living entity falsely desire to become the enjoyer. This is the origin of false ego. When the bewildered living being desire this, the shadow elements are generated by the will of Lord, and the living entities are allowed to run after them as far as phantasmagoria. This is the point, and it is said that the first and Tanmatra sound is created, then the sky. In this verse, it is confirmed that actually it is so, but the sound is a subtle form of sky. Even sky is so subtle, and sound is much more subtler. Now we are able to hear each other because of that sound only, but it is not gross. We say that is vibrating something, but how sound is, we will not know. We are able to hear because of the vibrations. The vibration sound enters, it is transformed to the air, it vibrates our eardrum and then enters. But it is such a subtle thing, it cannot be understood. The movement is understood, but the not sound. The distinction is like that between the seer and seen. The sound is the representation of the actual object, and the sound produced when one describes the object gives an idea of the object. Therefore, sound is a subtle characteristics of the object. Similarly, the sound representation of Lord in terms of his characteristics is complete form of Lord, as was seen by Vasudev and Maharaj Dasharatha, the father of Lord Krishna and Lord Ram. The sound representation of Lord is not different from Lord himself because the Lord and his representation in sound are absolute knowledge. Lord Chaitanya has instructed us that in the holy name of Lord, a sound representation of Lord, all the potencies of Lord are invested. Thus, one can immediately enjoy the association of Lord by pure vibration of the sound representation of his holy name, and the concept of Lord is immediately manifested before the pure devotee. A pure devotee, therefore, is not aloof from the Lord even for a moment. The holy name of Lord, as recommended in Shastras, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Hare, may therefore be constantly chanted by the devotees as aspiring to be constantly in touch with the Supreme Lord. One who is thus able to associate with Lord is sure to be delivered from the darkness of created world, which is the product of false ego. This is a very nice chapter. Unfortunately, I'm not able to very elaborately take it. Maybe we'll see some points if I understand which much more clarity. I'll again explain because this is going to come this theme in next chapters also. Again, we can discuss it more deeply. But whatever little understanding I have, I'll try to explain. If I get more insights on it, I will definitely share with all of you. And further, Brahma says, because the sky is transformed, the air is generated with the quality of touch. And by previous successions, the air is also full of sound and the basic principles of duration of life, sense perception, mental power, and bodily strength. When the air is transformed in course of time and nature's force, fire is generated, taking shape with the sense of touch and sound. Since fire is also transformed, there is a manifestation of water full of juice and taste. As previously, it also has form and taste, touch, and is thus full of sound. And water being transformed from all variegatedness on earth appears odorous and as previously becomes qualitatively full of juice, touch, sound, and form, respectively. And it is technical. If you don't understand much, also don't worry. Maybe I will see if I do research. I will come back to you. Maybe because if I explain like this, you will not be. I need to show in the word or some chart, then it may be a little more easy. The whole process of creation is an actual gradual evolution and development from one element to another, reaching up to the variegatedness of earth as so many trees, plants, mountains, rivers, reptiles, birds, animals, and varieties of human beings. The quality of sense perception is also evolutionary, namely generated from sound, then touch, then form, from touch to form. Taste and odor also generated along with gradual development of sky, air, fire, water, and earth. They're all mutually the cause and effect of one another. Why all these things? To know this one point, the cause of all causes. And that's what Prabhupada is going to write next. But the original cause is Lord Himself in His plenary portion as Mahavishnu, lying in the causal ocean of the Mahatattva. As such, Krishna is described in the Brahma Samhita as cause of all causes. That's what we are to. Ham sarvasya prabho, mattas sarvam pravartate. The quality of sense perceptions are fully represented in the earth, and they are manifested in other elements to a less extent. In the sky, there is sound only, whereas in air, there is sound and touch. In fire, there are sound, touch, and shape, and in water, there is taste also, along with other respectively, namely sound, touch, and shape. In the earth, however, there are all the above mentioned qualities with an extra development of order also. Therefore, on the earth, there is a full display of variegatedness of life, which is originally started with the basic principle of air. Diseases of body takes place due to dearrangement of air within the earthly body or living beings. Material diseases results from special dearrangement of air within the body, and as such, yoga exercise is especially benefit to keep the air in order so the diseases. Very important point. Cross elements are mixtures of five cross elements. Yeah, yeah. They are subtle. These are gross, what we are seeing. This is a very important, not very important, but very good information. We need to important. We have other things also. But mental diseases result some special derangement of air within the body, and as such, yogic exercise is especially beneficial to keep the air in order so that the disease of body becomes almost nil by such exercises. Mental diseases, what is the procedure is pranayama. When they are properly done, the duration of life also increases, and one can have control over death also by such practices. A perfect yogi can have command over death and quit at right moment. And when he is competent to transfer himself to a settled planet, the bhakti competence. The bhakti yogi, however, surpasses all these yogas because by dint of his devotional service, he is promoted to the region beyond the material sky and placed in one of the planets in the spiritual sky. So when I mean not so important because we are comparing with bhakti. Prabhupada gave this, and in the end, he says, Bhakti is however surpasses all. In that way, I am trying to tell that what is spoken here is compared to bhakti is superior. Prabhupada is also saying the same thing. How this happens? Na? What? Because we have kapha, vata, and pitta. Vata is actually all this, the cause of maximum disease is vata only. And then comes pitta and then then kapha. And there is also prana vayu. We have prana, panu, dhana, samana, vyana, and that is also there. These vayus are actually balanced. If they lose the balance, then we get all sorts of diseases. I'm able to move my hand because of vayu. If there is a disorder in it, then immediately there will be paralysis, and even in the mind also. All these things are their details. We will not go here. Once we have to complete some other things here. You want to know detail? Some other discussion. Why I am not saying here? Because it is very elaborate and we have to cover up purpose also. And if somebody is very, not everybody will be interested also in so many details. If they are interested, they can join. They are simple people. They want to hear some simple points on purpose because it's more a very technical thing. That's why I'm not taking it so deep. Somebody is very technically oriented, they can attend other session. Then the mode of goodness, the mind is generated. So this is a very important question many people have, but this is also very simple. What then it is called here? Here it is actually and buddhi, what we call it, comes from passion. But there are two levels also in that. and becomes manifested. And as and also the 10 demigods controlling the bodily movements. Such demigods are known as the control of directors, the control of air, the sun god, Varuna, Ashwini Kumar, the fire god. Maybe I'll make a chart and then we can discuss, because directly like this also it is little difficult to understand. I will make a notes and I'll share that. It will become easy for you to understand also how elements also. And actually the last 5 6 purports are very important purports. There are many nice subtle points Prabhupada is explaining. I will see if it works for us. We still have time. And the controlling of the air, the sun god, Varuna, and the Ashwini Kumar, the fire god, the king of heaven, the worshipful deity in heaven, the chief of Adityas, Brahmaji, all come into existence. Yeah, I will keep notes because I am also feeling if I am reading also how much it will go into our system. It is good to remember also. It's like very exciting. Here, Vaikarika is a neutral stage of creation, and Tejas is the initiative of creation, while Tamas is a full display of material creation, the spell of darkness of ignorance. Manufacture of necessities of life in factories and workshops, excessively prominent in the age of Kali or in the age of machine, is the summit stage of quality of darkness. Such manufacturing enterprises by human society are in mode of darkness because factually there is no necessity for the commodities manufactured. Human society primarily requires food for sustenance, shelter for sleeping, defense for protection, and commodities for satisfaction of senses. The senses are the practical sign of God. Actually, this is a very important point for us. Why in the previous ages, why they, not that they could not go for luxury, they did not want to go for luxury. They had that intelligence, but they didn't want because their enjoyment is in a much subtler level. That is the point. They say, Arey, they don't have washing machine only, no electricity, no TV only, and they don't have any means for entertainment. No, they had entertainment in a certain level. And second thing is, entertainment is not all in all for them. That is what is their purpose. Their purpose is a higher goal. And their enjoyment is also higher only. That's why they did not prefer this type of internet enjoyment with all our electronic gadgets. They didn't prefer. Of course, this type of enjoyment is there in the Bilva Survas, lower heavens. Atala Sutala Talatala. They have this type of, but the Vedic culture and the people who want to be elevated to heaven and all, they didn't prefer such type of enjoyment. They wanted much subtler enjoyment, not very gross. The enjoyment which we have now is very gross. When we watch TV and enjoy, it's a very gross way of enjoying the senses. That is not very subtle. Because if you see our existence only, we have, they're just happy with eating, with and sleeping, but little higher level. Now, the senses are the practical sign of life, as will be explained in the next class. Human civilization meant for purifying the senses. And no, the object of sense satisfaction should be supplied as much as absolutely required, but not for aggravating artificial sensory needs. This is a very, very embarrassing situation for people. After age of 50 also, their desire to enjoy is so strong. It is so humiliating and disgusting sometimes for themselves. They are dying and they cannot give up eating only. They are so much addicted to satisfying their senses. It is very unfortunate. They did not practice only. If you practice, you will be able to control our tongue. If that is not controlled, then nothing is controlled only because tongue, belly, and genital, and then they are directly connected to mind. Tongue is controlled, mind is controlled. That's why we have all these fastings. Of course, today is Haridas Thakur. I didn't speak anything. I also don't have much. You all have heard all the things about Haridas Thakur. But this is a very good day today. Just a small reminder. So, yeah. we don't practice after we have after 35 onwards we should start by 50 we'll have some control, and by 60 at least we can say okay we are in a good state. If we didn't practice, then we are just satisfying the tongue, then we will be in very great trouble. It's so embarrassing also. And we are dying, we are still we want to eat some food items. That is not correct, right? So the needs are there for artificial, and in the pure state of life, there are no such needs. As such, increasing artificial needs, as in the standard of material civilization or advancement of economic development of human society, is a sort of engagement in darkness without knowledge. All these people, they say, wow, we made such an advancement in technology. And purpose is, this is an engagement in darkness without knowledge. By such engagement, human energy is spoiled. All this technology is spoiled. Because human energy is primarily meant for purifying the senses in order to engage them in satisfying the senses of the Supreme Lord. And senses are not pure only. All the eyes, they want to look so many things which are not needed. Ears want to hear so many things not needed. Tongue want to taste so many things not needed. That means what? Senses remain impure. That means what? Life is wasted. First senses should get purified, then mind will get purified. By engagement, by such engagement, human society is spoiled. Because human energy is primarily meant for purifying the senses in order to engage in satisfying the sense of Supreme Lord. The Supreme Lord, being the supreme producer of spiritual senses, he is the master of senses, Rishikesha. Rishi means senses, and Isha means master. The Lord is not the servant of senses, or in other words, is not directed by the direction of senses, but the conditioned souls or the individual divinities are servants of the senses. They are conducted by the direction of the senses. Therefore, material civilization is known is a kind of engagement in sense gratification. The standard of human civilization should be the to cure the disease of sense gratification, and one can do this simply by becoming an agent for satisfying the spiritual sense of Lord. The senses are never to be stopped in their engagement, but one should purify them by engaging them in pure service of sense gratification of the master of the senses. Thus, this is the instruction of whole Bhagavad Gita. This is what Bhagavad Gita is telling. And this is another way to know the cause of all causes. First point we discussed, to know the cause of all causes is knowing by being unaffected by dualities. Second way of knowing the cause of all causes is purifying the senses or engaging them in Krishna consciousness. This is second method. So that is at the level of manas, and this is at the level of senses. All these things will help us to come to the same point, the cause of all causes. Arjuna wanted first to satisfy his own senses by his decision not to fight with his kingsmen and friends. But Lord Sri Krishna taught him the Bhagavad Gita just to purify Arjuna's decisions for sense gratification. Therefore, Arjuna agreed to satisfy the sense of Lord, and thus he fought the battle of Kurukshetra as Lord desired. And the Vedas instruct us to get out of the existence of darkness and go forward on the path of light. Tamasi ma jyotirgamaya. The path of light is therefore to satisfy the sense of Lord. And very nice purport. It's a homework for you. Please read again. On the contrary, they artificially try to stop the activities of senses, the yoga system, and they deny the transcendental sense of Lord, the jnana system. The devotees, however, are above the yogis and jnanis, because pure devotees do not deny the senses of Lord. They want to satisfy the sense of Lord. Only because of darkness of ignorance do the yogis and jnanis deny the senses of the Lord, and thus artificially try to control the activities of diseased senses. In the diseased concept of senses, there is too much engagement of senses in increasing material needs. When one comes to see the disadvantage of aggravating the sense activities, one is called a jnani. Sorry, when one comes to see the disadvantages of aggravating the sense activities, one is called a jnani. And when one tries to stop the activity of senses with the practice of yoga principle, is called yogi. But one is fully aware of the transcendental sense of Lord and try to satisfy his senses, and is called a devotee of the Lord. The devotee of Lord do not try to deny the senses of the Lord, nor do artificially try to stop the actions of the senses. But they do voluntarily engage their purified senses in the service of the master of senses, as is done by Arjuna, thereby easily increasing the purifying of perfection of satisfying the Lord, the ultimate goal of all perfections. We will do two more because this is a very important chapter also. By further transformation of mode of passion, the sense organs like ear, skin, nose, eyes, tongue, mouth, hands, genitals, legs, and outlet for evacuation together with intelligence and the life energy are all generated. So, from ignorance, the elements are coming. From passion, the senses are coming. And the goodness, in the previous verse, we saw the tanmatras and the demigods are coming. We have sense organ, ear can hear. The hearing is goodness, ears are passion, and the gross ear with the five elements which is made is the ignorance. So three levels are there. The living condition in material existence depends more or less on one's intelligence and powerful life energy. Intelligence to contract the hard struggle for existence is asserted by the senses for acquiring knowledge, and the life energy is maintained by the manipulation of active organs like the hands and legs. But on whole, the struggle for existence is an uh, extension of exertion of mode of passion. Therefore, all the sense organs, along with the intelligence and life energy, prana, are different products and byproducts of sense second mode of nature called passion. The mode of passion, however, is a product of air element as described above. Wow. We will definitely come back to you in this research. Because why I am saying is this is the way to learn also. And this is another way to one technique is when we say what happens is if you don't fulfill our buddhi gets affected. If you promise, if you say I want to do it, if I don't do it, then immediately our buddhi is damaged. We always have to keep promises. I am trying to understand it because buddhi is very simple. You say something, you do it, understands. But if we say and we don't do it, immediately it get damaged, becomes weak. That's the point here. And I'm trying to understand. Sometimes I try to follow. Many times it is getting damaged. But I'm trying as much as possible. Even small things also, if we say if you do, then immediately it is going to help us. And then we have Onarda, best of the transcendentalists. The formation of body cannot take place as long as these created parts, namely the elements, senses, mind, and modes of nature, are not assembled. The different types of bodily construction of living entities are exactly like different types of motor cars manufactured by assembling the allied motor parts. When the car is ready, the driver sits in the car and moves it as he desires. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. The living entity is as if seated on the machine of the body, and the car of the body is moving by the control of material nature, just as railway trains are moving under the direction of the controller. The living entity, however, are not the bodies. They are separated from bodily car. But the less intelligent material scientists cannot understand the process of assembling the parts of the body, namely the senses, the mind, and the qualities of material moods. Every living entity is a spiritual part and parcel of Supreme Being. And by kindness of the Lord, for the Father is kind to his senses, the individual living being are given a little freedom to act according to their will to lord it over the material nature. Just as father gives some playthings to the crying child to satisfy him, the whole material creation is made possible by the will of Lord to allow the bewildered living entities to lord it over things as they decide. Although under the control of the agent of Lord, the living entities are exactly like same children playing in the material field under the control of maid servant of the Lord. They accept Maya, the maid servant, as all in all, and thus wrongly conceive the supreme truth to be feminine. The foolish, childlike materialistic cannot reach beyond the conception of maid servant material nature, but the intelligent grown up sons of the Lord know well that all the acts of material nature are controlled by the Lord, just as the maid servant is under the control of master, the father of undeveloped child. The parts of the body, such as the senses, are creation of Mahatattva. When they are assembled by the will of Lord, material body comes in existence and living entities allowed to use it for the further activities. This explain further. Wow, such nice purports. Prabhupada's writing. This is a very important to know because once we clearly understand, then what happens is our quality of devotion will increase by knowing this properly. Thus, when all these become assembled by the force of energy of Supreme Personality of Godhead, this universe certainly come into being by accepting both the primary and secondary cause of all creations. Prabhupada says, in this verse, it is clearly mentioned the Supreme Personality of Godhead exerts his different energies in the creation. It is not that he himself is transformed into material energy creation. He expands himself by his different energies as well by his plenary portions. In a corner of spiritual skies, Brahmajyoti, a spiritual cloud sometimes appear and the covered portion is called Mahatattva. The Lord then by his plenary portion as Mahavishnu lies down within the ocean of Mahatattva and the water is called causal ocean. So this is all how he comes. And Prabhupada said, therefore, the chief engineer of metal creation, Lord himself. There are two modes of metal creation. The creation of collective universes, as stated above, done by Mahavishnu, and the creation of single universe. Both are done by Lord. Thus, the universal shape, as we can see, it takes place. We'll just take two more and then we end. He says that thus all the universes remained thousands of eons within the water, the causal ocean. The Lord of living is enter into each of them, caused them to become fully animated. Because I wanted to again go through this, that's why I'm just we will take only this much. I will make another notes and I'll come back to you to make you understand it more clearly. The Lord is described here as Jiva because he is the leader of all other Jivas, living entities. In the Vedas, he is described as Nitya, the leader of all other Nityas. The Lord's relation with the living entity is like that of the father with the son. The son and the father are qualitatively equal, but the father is never the son, nor is the son ever the father who begets. So, as described above, the Lord as Garbhodaksha, Vishnu, or Hiranyagarbha, Super soul enters into each and every universe and causes it to become animated by begetting living entities with a womb of material nature as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. So, when, however, the animation takes place, the living entity revive their natural activity under the spell of time and energy, and thus the varieties of living being are manifested. And then Lord is, therefore, Lord is the ultimate cause of all inhalation. And then for today, we'll just, the Lord, although lying in the caution, come out of it and dividing himself as Hiranyagarbha, enter into each of the and assume Virat Rupa with thousands of legs. This is all Mahavishnu only doing. So, Prabhupada, the expansion of plenary systems within each and every universe are situated in different parts of Virat Rupa of the Lord, and they are described as follows. So, now from here onwards, it's a different description. Till now, it is how the universal creation takes place, the primary creation. Okay, because little technical. I am also not made any notes. I don't wanted to give you so much pressure. Well, definitely I will come with proper notes and we'll discuss some extent and Saturday other topics which are connected